Hello, everybody. Welcome to Source Energy Collective. This is kind of an impromptu video. We're going to be discussing in this video an terrible intuitive deep dive into the Alberta separation, the momentum there, and also what's kind of percolating under the surface in BC. There's been a lot of talk about BC separatism as well. So, yeah, it's just myself and Jerry today. And Jerry, I think, had another topic that he also wanted to talk about, like how, Jerry, I'm going to let you bring that up.
You're going to let me roll with it? Okay, great. Thanks, Marcia. Well, welcome everybody. I'm happy to be here. Happy you're taking the time to come and watch this video. And I hope it's educational for some. It might be a repeat for others, but it's worth repeating. So it looks like our friends next door to us, we're in BC here, from Alberta, they have taken the initiative. It looks like the big cycle of the Firehorse year started early in Alberta, and they have voted for their own sovereignty because typically I think they have been considered the only real province that actually produces any economy-wise dollars for Canada, and then those dollars get distributed to the rest of Canada. So Alberta's been kind of at the boot heel of Ottawa for a very, very long time, and they've wanted to. They want their freedom. They want sovereignty. They don't want to pay the ridiculous extortion fees that they're feeling like they're being forced into. And so one of the things I was wanting to bring an awareness, because I had a bit of a conversation today with a friend, and one of the things that if you look into like George Orwell, or if you look into some of the communist manifestos, is that they destabilize countries. And why would they want to destabilize a country? Well, typically it's for resources, right? So it's for the resources that are under their feet, where they can make more money. So a lot of the checklists I got from Chat GPT is I asked how to destabilize a country, and what would be the pretenses to destabilizing a country. And so it would be to capture the country's institutions. So that would be like the government, that would be the education system, that would be the media outlets, that would be the labor unions, that would be the courts and regulatory bodies, and create wealth inequality. I mean, I think we're pretty much all seeing wealth inequality these days, right? I mean, come on. Corruption? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a big check mark there. Cost of living? Well, Canada, congratulations. I think, what did we break, Marcia? We're number one, weren't we, for household debt?
Yeah, but we're doing so good. And he's just so eloquent and he's so
Elbows up.
great.
I know you love that saying.
And we're the
Um,
envy of the world here in Canada.
yeah, thumbs up to the elbows up. All right. So land or resources disputes. Well, we can see that all over the place. You know, there's they call it controlled opposition. So typically, what happens is if they want to create an agenda, they will pay someone to appear as though they're the experts for that particular group of peoples. And people are starting to really pick up on that. Like, I think a lot of the Aboriginals are getting a little pissed off because they're not being represented properly in a lot. No kidding, right? Has that ever happened? Right? So that's a big check mark too, right? The youth being unemployed, that's a huge check mark here in Canada too. In fact, what they've brainwashed people into believing is that it's a good idea to bring other people from other countries and just basically give them everything, pay everything for them. And yes, you know what? I bet you a lot of them are. I mean, hey, if another country told me, hey, I want to come and live here and I'll pay for everything for you, I think I'd probably go too. Wouldn't you, Marcia? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, you know what? I'm all for helping people, but maybe if we take some of those really huge corporations and we got rid of them, or we did some other things that maybe we all could be better for all of us, right? So what we're doing today is we're going to be doing some deep diving into Alberta and their separation, and we're going to put some intention on that. Did you want to lead the charge on that, Marcia?
Yeah, I just had a response to what you were talking about. This whole process that Jerry was touching on has been happening for, hmm, let's see, my daughter's 13. So for about 12 years, right? And when I became a little bit aware of this was when they started taking people down for saying something that they saw with their eyes that's happening, but then they got called racist and morally wrong. We did a video on this, and that is a huge thing. This is what happened in Iran, is when it was like an ideological war, right? And so this started in Canada, in my opinion, like when I became aware of it, maybe way longer than that, 12 years ago. And I'm getting goosebumps. And that was when that whole equalization kind of thing happened. They are soft on drugs, giving people drugs in BC. I mean, that's all over the news right now, decriminalizing drugs. I was a mom and I had a little baby who was just learning how to walk. In my neighborhood, we got overridden with prostitutes that brought Johns, that was asking little girls, there was a high school right there. They were asking girls walking down the street if they wanted to get in their car. Um, and of course, it was also the time of handing out free needles, right? And so handing out free needles, which is great, wonderful, but then the fucking needles are all over the street. My little baby is teeter-tottering, right? You have to scan the playground for needles, and you would find like 15 to 20 uncapped used needles. Yes, the AIDS virus dies upon contact to the air, but it Hep C does not, right? And and then when you call it out, then other people who are brainwashed with this whole DEI inclusivity, we don't exclude anybody, even though they're like almost harming little babies. There was one situation that there was a dead tree trunk, and somebody had put, I don't know if they were blitzed out of their mind, but it was like a porcupine with like dirty needles all over it. And this was a tree
Oh
that
man.
kids climb. So that whole thing happened, that whole ideological war happened within the drug services, addiction services in BC. That shows you back 12 years ago, this whole brainwashing, this whole imploding from the inside out began back then. During that time, also, we were having a lot of like growth with house sales. A lot of people found out about Vancouver, found out about BC, and they wanted to live here. People were selling houses, and there was like a bidding war, and then it would go up like 20,000, $200,000 more than what they were listing. I was at that point wanting to sell my house, which was no problem. My house sold, no problem. But then I wanted to buy a house, and that's when we were like priced out. And I literally talked to the Justin Trudeau. Um, Again, I was very much a part of this like media, and I listened to the MSM and all that stuff because I thought the government had our back. I went to this convention center. I got picked to ask him a question, and I asked him, "What are you going to do about the foreign buyers coming in to buy up all the property, all the land in BC, and like pushing out the natives in Vancouver?" And what he said, I tell you, you know, I've always been very intuitive ever since I was a little girl, always had that gift. His face and his energy and his demeanor changed. Like I saw, I didn't even put it to until recently, right? But it was like this darkness. I felt this darkness fall over him when he heard my question before. He was like, ha ha ha, easy going, let's take a selfie, right? But then after I asked him that question, his whole demeanor changed, his whole energy changed. And that to me today, I look back on that situation. They had this agenda to implode the country, to make it like what Jerry was saying, institutions, education, get all the brainwashed professors to indoctrinate our children. I really don't want my child to go to university, right? That's how bad it's getting, right? And then this like inequality of finances, make the middle class work our asses off, two, three, four jobs, and give like the people who are on whatever, right? Like lower income, they get everything. But then it's like you get that division and that resentment
Yeah,
from these two
yeah,
classes, which causes a divide, right?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
that divide
divide and conquer. Yeah, the divide and conquer, rule over through that. Yeah,
energetically, it is that divide, it is that energy of hate, resentment, fear, division that they will grab to energetically amplify and put a spell on you. This is what they're doing with the Aboriginal thing going on because there is so much resentment and unresolved trauma on both sides. So they're using this vibration that's in everybody, be you
hmm
white, be you indigenous, and they are amplifying it, right? They're amplifying it into more of a divide, which feeds into the implosion of Canada. We're not getting attacked, we're getting fucking imploded,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just to segue off that, that was great. That was brilliant. Thanks for explaining that because I think a lot of people fully understand the energy part of it. They might not be catching on to that part of it because without knowing about frequencies, they won't really understand that part that you were discussing. But that was brilliant because you are correct when you were right about feeling a person's energy like that, because there is parasitical energies that do permeate through the unseen realms that we can't perceive, and that's what scares the shit out of a lot of people, and they don't want to understand that to that level. But it's an important distinction that I think a lot of people are going to have to overcome, and they are overcoming it, and they are beginning to have the courage. Mostly people that are have any kind of God faith, and I don't care what religion. We're not here to pick any religion. Um, as long as it's a loving God, a compassionate God, I'm all good with that. But if it's there's a lot of distortions around religion right now. So
God doesn't care what you call it.
yeah,
God doesn't care what you call
no,
the name of it.
no,
It's an
no.
energy,
No,
right?
but those people, yes, exactly, Marcia. And my point was is that I got my thank you, Spirit. Is that people that believe in Spirit believe in themselves, and so it's not about giving externally to some, as Terrence McKenna used to always say, some nabob. It's about empowering the individual experience. So we have was what can be considered as God-given rights, but we have to be psychologically tricked into believing we don't have these rights. And so that's really what we're starting to realize is that we do have the power to make these changes happen. Did we have a question, Marcia? I think you just disappeared
Well,
there.
I'm right here. I'm just putting on my timer so we don't go for like 2 hours because people don't
Smart.
like that. Yeah. So I'm just
Yeah.
gonna put it on for like 40 minutes. Well, let's see what the cards want to tell us about what we're talking about. Do you have a question around that, the momentum of the implosion of Canada? And then we'll
Sounds
talk about
Yep, that sounds good to me. And I was already asked Spirit because Spirit already knows the question you're going to ask. So I already went ahead and did the tarot pull. So how did you question? How did you ask that again? What's the energy? What's the momentum of Canada?
The momentum of the implosion, the kerfuffle, the created programs of division inside Canada. What is the momentum around that right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are starting to look away. So they're starting to uh, just consider new possibilities. So they're just starting to use their energy. And whenever your focus, your intention goes, is where your energy goes. So people are starting to look into different ways of giving their energy to, and not being siphoned constantly. And this has been building up for a while now for a lot of people. They're starting to create systems in the background. So there has been new systems. And you know what, we can even say that there's, you could even say, include some financial stuff. So silver, gold, maybe you want to include crypto in there, that's fine, you can do that too. So moving forward, we're going to need to be generous with each other. So that's the momentum right now, is generosity. So it's loving each other more, and that's what I'm seeing here with this, is about alchemizing ourselves. So getting out of our mental imbalances and balancing our spiritual body, our masculine, feminine, and a lot of this is the language. That recommendation is to move away from the psychological manipulations that happen. So I got the Six of Swords there. The outcome is that the Christed energy, the returning of the Christ, if you like, if you want to say it in Christian terms. So that is marching forward slowly. You can see this horse isn't trotting very fast, but there's momentum moving forward, and that's more of the God-loving people. And there is, again, to bring it back to the Lovers card, we got a rebalancing. So natural law, this is my natural law. So basically everything that's out of balance is going to be returning to be harmonized. This is my Justice card. So we're going to see the alchemization, and he holds the sword of truth too. So the truth cannot be held back anymore. Is what's going to be taking place here. So that's what I got.
Where did you get the lovers card? What position was that?
This is what we've been doing. This is the healing we've been doing. The healing. So this is what we've been doing. We've been alchemizing ourselves, and that's why these changes are happening. Is because we ourselves are beginning to change. So that's just being expressed externally. So that's what this card represents. The past. Yeah.
So with the question of the momentum of the division and all the agendas that are being injected to the Canadian population, what the momentum is around that. You
Right
got the
there.
Christed
Right there.
cow.
Yeah. 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 Oh, here comes a whole
Oh
bunch
my
of
God, I
goosebumps.
love that.
Yeah. Oh wow. What an if you could see my hair standing up my
I'm
arm
getting
now.
goosebumps
Yeah.
too.
So we're it's clear skies. It's clear skies. You know what? It's going to happen. It's going to be a little rough. It's going to be a little rough. There's no question about it. But we've already won. We've already defeated the dark forces. It's just got to play itself out now.
Yeah, and that's why, like, with everything that's happening right now, they're losing a lot of like support, right? A lot of people are actually seeing what's going on. And me and Jerry were just talking about this. It doesn't seem that way when you're out and about, or you're on your social media in your community and somebody says something and then gets like completely fucking jumped on. But the thing is, I'd like everybody to kind of be discerning, and maybe just kind of like experiment with it and see where it leads you. If you ever come across that, just kind of see why it is that the people jumping on a person saying the truth, or just making a comment, um why is that side so loud? And do you think that it's a majority of people, or just this one loudmouth, right? And then the mob mentality comes up. And then do you think that maybe the people that agree with this person sees this person getting jumped on and doesn't want to say anything? and like stays quiet. So all the things that we're seeing in the external doesn't really kind of mirror what's actually going on. So on the news, we have David Abbey saying that Alberta is treasonous. We have in the past saying that it's a fringe movement. But then if you see on social media, you see lineups and lineups of people going to sign this petition, right? So that's what I'm talking about. It's that discerning, it's that going into it, it's that being curious, it's that kind of like asking yourself these questions, but not playing into the fear of it, but just like being curious about it, right?
I liked what you said, Marcia, earlier. Is exactly right, and I was just getting that while you were talking. Is that it's like a battered woman. They're gaslighting Alberta, and that's what not, and it's not just women and men, or women men doing it to women, and women do it to men too. We do it to each other too, but they also, the politicians do it to the public as well, and they gaslight the public, and it's trauma based, so it's gives you a bit of trauma, and then that way it deregulates your nervous system, so that way you can't think clearly. You know, it triggers old traumas that a person may not have, wanted to, because whenever you get triggered, your emotional body's going to want to release, and so it's going to go into that fight and flight mode, and so, you know, it's just a horrible relationship is what it is.
So Jerry's talking about what I've heard people describe Alberta wanting to separate as a woman who has been in an abusive relationship for many years and finally says no more. And then their partner, that abusive partner, is like tries to stop them from leaving, gaslights them, telling them that they're nothing without them, all this stuff, right? That's what he's talking about. And
Classic.
if you really see it, like Alberta is saying, I don't want this type of relationship. It's one-sided. We
You're
give all the
selfish.
money. You're selfish, you're treasonous, you're selfish, you,
Yeah.
and then all this name calling. But then after that, Jerry and I were also talking about this was that, okay, the first stage is name call, right? Try to get them to shut up because they don't want to be ostracized. If that doesn't work, then what are they going to do after that? They're going to cause the division even further, right? So they're going to bring in like a situation to cause mass division. What they're doing right now is they're bringing
Yeah.
in the chiefs of indigenous bands to speak up and saying, we don't want to separate. I belong to like some Facebook groups, and on these Facebook groups, they're saying that that person in particular has taken so much money from the government, is pretty much a paid kind of like
Yep.
person to
Yep.
say whatever the government
Yep.
wants them to say. This person coming up saying no more.
That's called what we call, again, we call that, they call that controlled opposition.
And that's what Jerry was started this whole video on, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's like creating that mass division. So then the ideology,
Kind of like the NDP.
we're NDP.
Sorry, I had to say it.
So then this mass ideological war starts, right? And like, yeah, how can you do that? You're just like, and you came and took over the land. We were here first, and then
Oh,
shit. And then once anybody
people
says
run with
that,
that
oh my
too.
God,
Yeah.
the gloves come
Yeah.
off and people start warring and then they stop thinking.
All
But
their
if
old all
people
their
could
old
just
wounds.
take a pause, fucking take a pause, right?
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
what they're doing. Once those gloves come off, you stop thinking.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just won.
Yeah.
So
You
stop it,
when
right?
you react, you've lost.
Stop fighting with each other. This is, you're
Yeah.
being manipulated,
You can
right?
respond, but you
Yeah.
if you react, it's a little bit different, because
And
reacting is that they triggered that emotional body of yours because a person has not done their inner work, which is basically just allowing more of their true essence to appear, and you're basically rewiring your electrical system. And if that hasn't happened, then you're going to get those kinds of, emotional outbursts, and we've all been through that. We all know what it's like. Me and Marcia are just on the other side of that now. We're not immune to it. I wouldn't say, because whenever we think we're immune to it, then there's always a little bit of residue that likes to peek its head to be released. But at least we have the awareness now, and the great teachings of a great teacher, my friend Brad Johnson. I'm gonna shout out to that for the YouTube channel. And yeah, so good on you, Marcia.
And another thing about gaslighting is that it is so insidious that it tells you that pretty much you're crazy. So then you're not going to be able to listen to yourself and trust yourself. And I tell you, I just went through so much trauma release and trauma work because that was my block, right? Of trusting yourself, trusting what you get. When you're in the calm sensor state and you're getting all these messages from the divine and you're like practicing your intuition, because we've been through so much of our life not trusting ourselves, it's hard to trust ourselves, right? That's what
Yeah.
this gaslighting thing is doing to everybody. So stop letting them do it. You're being like attacked on an energetic level and manipulated,
and
right?
and,
So
and I know you always told me just jump in if I keep you just, so, but you know what, you're right, Marcia. And believe it or not, everybody, we're actually dialing it back quite a bit here, because if people really understood the full extent of it, it would be too much for their nervous system to handle. Our goal here in this channel is to be a stabilizing voice for those that want to take responsibility for their lives, and it's going to include every aspect of their lives. There's going to be none excluded. So, that's what we're all about here, is to help empower the individual experience and honor each other and respect each other with heart coherence, none of this ego-led stuff. That modality is going out the door. So, yeah, sorry about
it's
that.
how do you do that, right? How do you start doing that? First, you gotta not react to what they're telling you, right? Don't let them pull you off your center. We say that so
Yeah.
much that's happening. So much that is happening. I'm not an ostrich in the sand. I do look at it. I do look at both sides, right? I always have that. I'm a Libra, so I always want to see both sides of the story. There's some things like that Charlie Kirk thing knocked me off. Like I got really, really upset about that. But I learned so much from that. Don't react to it. Try not to get so emotional. Emotions are fleeting. They come and they go. You can be sad one minute, you can be happy the next minute. And then after you got your emotions all under control, right? Like using them like they're supposed to be, they are flashlights shining you to what you may have not like released energetically. Then you want to discern and you want to go and be curious and like start to trust what you get intuitively.
Yes, and if something does come up, right, Marcia, don't personalize it. Don't, if just be aware of the changes and the chemistry of what's happening in the body, and make the corrections yourself. You don't even really need to go to see anybody or do anything. You can do it yourself, and that's what we're here to do, is to help teach you how to do it. But you have to be willing, and you have to be you have to create that temperance in your own body, the will to move forward, and that's what we're here to help you with, right?
You don't have to do anything. It's all inside, right? It's all inside, and when
Yeah.
you come from it, like from a balanced, trusting your intuition, trusting your knowing, you can respond in a much more powerful way,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
right.
in a much more effective way,
But
but like we're flying.
they have to get that, they have to have the awareness, though, that there is a higher power beyond themselves. They're not in this little box of limitations. It's way too much to digest in this one video. But the more that a person is willing to be receptive to those information, it allows the cellular body to make those changes, because we ourselves have the power, even just through our intentional voice commands, that we can make these changes happen. But we have to be willing to step into what the unknown is, which is scary for a lot of people, and we get that 100%. You're going to be
Yeah.
criticized. You're going to be everything around you is going to say, "Oh, you're nuts. You're this, that, and the other." But if you really analyze what's nuts, you can see everything around. We're paying taxes upon taxes upon taxes. We're driving hours sometimes to an 8 hour job just so we can pay more taxes. It's just ridiculous, guys. Like
More than
we have to get smarter. There's no
more
other
than
way through.
more than half of the paycheck goes to the
Yeah.
government. More
Yeah.
than half, right?
Yep.
And then you break it down, how much of that goes to housing? How much of that is taxed again at the gas station? How much of that is taxed again? So you just pay tax, and then you're going to pay tax again, and then you're going to pay tax again and again and again. So
Yeah.
how much of that money is yours, right?
Well, look what happened here in BC. Their ICBC was caught. They were caught selling their. They'd get these cars and they were selling it to themselves, the employees there, and that's like there's just like little snippets of corruption that we get to see the public, like it is. If people knew the extent, well, some of us are watching this and most likely do know the extent of it. But like I said, if people, they're going to know, a lot of them are going to find out this year, ready or not, here it comes. Because like I said, if I had the card of justice here to show you again, the sword of truth is coming, baby, and there ain't nothing gonna stop the truth.
So I'm just going to read my spread on the momentum of the whole tactics that are being placed on the Canadian population to divide us, to implode our country, our beloved country, Canada, right?
I like it.
So I don't read reversals, but what I do is when a card comes up and it speaks to me, sometimes it speaks to me about it being in the reversal, right? It happens a lot. So I got the lovers, and this one is talking to me in the reversal. This is in the past. So this is the whole divide and conquer thing, right? Like they're not only dividing our family, right? The toxic masculinity and the patriarchy, matriarchy bullshit. It's bullshit, in my opinion, right? They're also doing this in, I'm just gonna put it in reverse. They're also doing this along race, right? The indigenous versus like everybody else, which makes everybody fucking cuckoo and not and stop using their brain. And that's really amping up a lot lately in BC. They're doing it with Alberta, telling telling Alberta that they're treasonous. They're treasonous, and they're going to Trump. Oh, and I do want to pull on that too. So this is in the past. This is what they've been doing. Now in the present, I have the Three of Swords with the Hierophant um challenging it, right? So the Hierophant is a beautiful card, but it's like right now it's also in reverse because the power has been corrupted. There's an imbalance of power leading us to this. This is our present right now. This is the Canadian population. This is what they're doing to implode the country with all this fucking shit that they're putting in to divide everybody. And now we find ourselves in this. And how are they doing that? This is the challenge. The inverted power of the Hierophant. The Hierophant, if it was up, like in its highest vibration, it's so beautiful. It's like it would put in a container for us, it would put in structure that was like good for us to create what we want. But when it's inverted the way it is right now, it's dominance, power and control, using belief systems as like a way to control people. So that's what that is. In the near future, we have already won.
Beautiful. I love that.
Already won. The world is going to heal. The galactics are helping. The Mother Earth is expanding, right? This is the vibration I wouldn't even say it's like it's far, far away. It's in the near future. I feel like we are going through all this, but all these energies that are healing us and helping us, they're there, but they're going to become stronger, right?
I like that, Marcia. That's like very comparable to that Christed card I had too. I like that. That's like
Yeah.
the purification that got the 1 foot in the water there. I love that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So the star is like a healing card. The star is like a destiny card. This is fucking destined. This
Yep.
whole thing is destined. This is how we break
It's
out
written.
of
It's
being,
written in the stars.
we are a slave planet, right? We get born, we need to work. It's all, and that's why, Jerry brought up like the youth. There's no jobs for the youth, and they've inverted that one too. And a lot of people think Gen Z, or I don't know what generation it is, that they're lazy. They're not fucking lazy. They're not lazy. They're the ones that are standing up to the governments around the world because they see through it, right?
Yeah.
They don't want what we did. They don't want to work 9 to 5 until
No.
they die,
No.
right?
And if anybody that's in the working force, everybody wants the same thing. They want to be valued. They want to feel like that what they're doing is contributing to the whole. And that's usually not what corporations are about. It's all about numbers, right?
This is the future. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Build something new.
this card is talking to me in a very unique way right now. Do you see how there's like a wall of pentacles, a wall of different things that need fixing? Do you see how he takes one of them? This is another thing that's happening in Canada. It just seems like a fucking mountain of shit, right? And so it's like how it's very easy to get distracted. One little group is focusing on this, one little group is focusing on the pedophiles, one little group is focusing on the government, and one little group here is focusing on the land grabs. We can't do that. We won't get anywhere, right? We need to focus on one thing. And that I think is the challenge, huge, huge challenge for Canadians is banding together, focusing on one thing, right? Like the
Yeah.
Canadian convoy had it. They
Okay.
banded the whole country together. They drove across. They were focusing on one thing. When they got there, that wall of pentacles came up. We can learn from the past. We need to be fucking laser focused
That's
to
where, okay,
fight.
so let's shout out Alberta right now on that, because Alberta can be that one thing that we put a little bit of attention on, because if 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 that's like the 100th monkey effect, where we put all our good intentions and focus on their sovereignty, that'll permeate out to the rest of us as well.
Yes,
So we did
I
here
agree.
create on Telegram, which is way better than any of these other social platforms. It's very, very free flowing of information, and there's no advertisements. We did start it. It's called Alberta's Sovereignty on Telegram. So if anybody wants to join, we're going to start promoting those channels to help people navigate, and to hopefully bring people together to unify, so that way we can have more of us together, and rather than feeling separate.
And that is like the key right now, right? Like focus on one thing. There's so many of us. you know? So if we only focus on one thing, our guided meditations are proof of that, right? And so this is the advice from Spirit. It's the Five of Pentacles. I feel like this is talking to me. Like look around and see where you're at and ask yourself if this is what you want. This is what you want for your children, right? Like really take a good hard look. Don't play into the emotional part of it. If emotions come
Yeah,
up,
and this is a good time, that what Marcia just said. This is a good time to feel into your emotional body, because you'll know how much resistance you have just by when she said that to you. If you right away said no, if you heard a voice saying no, I can't do that. Well, whose voice is that, right?
And if you guys do have like hardcore emotions coming up, reach out to us. We'll gladly walk you through a release of the emotional energy, the blockages, take you back and release some traumas that are instigating that blockage and release it all, and you will have freedom from it. Like we've all done it. We have lots of freedom. I'm sure there's more to do. But I think that that's like everybody, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the read about the momentum of the implosion, the by design, the implosion by design of Canada. And then we also wanted to touch on Alberta separation because in I think May is when the petition is going to be counted. Let me see here.
Oh, the petition is going to be counted?
Yeah, May 2nd. So they're in a petition right now. A lot of people they have up until January 3rd to May 2nd to sign this petition saying if they want to separate or not. And it's getting loud. Why is
Okay.
it getting
All right.
loud? Why
Okay.
is the opposition?
What's,
Hang on,
sorry,
hang on,
Marcia.
hang on. Why is the opposition getting loud right now? Is because they're seeing the momentum of the people coming out, right? So you're going to see a lot like the native chief just came out. That is like a huge you can call it. You can fucking predict it, right? More of that type of stuff is going to come out. You can see David Eby telling Alberta and all them people are like treasonous because they went to see Trump, right? About separating. That's another example, right? So let's see what is going the momentum of how do you want to word this, Jerry?
I'm going to let you do that because I already pulled cards. Spirit already
Okay.
knows what you're going to say. So you can go
Uh,
ahead
uh,
and just head and say what you want to say.
you go ahead and read your cards then. I'm gonna pull on some sort of something on Alberta and where they're at right now.
Okay. Well, I was what I was thinking was how it's going to be portrayed. Spirit. So if I had to ask the question, I would say, Spirit, tell us what kinds of exposure or media coverage. What do you think that's going to be projected to the public? What sort of projections are going to be projected to the public from the media? So I was thinking that that's what you were saying earlier too. So because you were kind of hinting around that a bit there, and so I just went ahead and pulled the cards and I got the nine of swords at the root of it. So essentially, it's exactly what Marcia was saying earlier. They're going to use stupid language to gaslight you into thinking that this is a horrible idea, and they're going to call you every name in the book, traitor, this and that. They'll find somebody within the movement, and then they'll say that this person is homophobic or this, that, or the other. So there's always going to be that kind of bullshit going on, because they do
I can't
manipulate
believe you pulled up the
master,
Nine of Swords. That is
right?
ridiculous. Yeah, that is
You haven't
gaslighting.
seen you haven't seen nothing yet. So the King of Swords is like
Wow.
they control the language. They are the master manipulators at not telling the truth. So this would be an upside down, just like what Marcia said. You can read it either way,
Yeah.
and she's right. Just because people read the cards just at face value, that's very intellectual. You want to also use your intuition. Marcia uses her intuition a lot, and it shouldn't bother anybody at all. It doesn't bother me because I understand it, right? And so what what right now is I'm seeing is that the media is basically portraying the worst case scenario. So I got the ten of swords here. So they're making it look like it's the end of the world, but basically it's the end of them is what I'm getting right now, is people are seeing through that. And so the recommendation is to hold that truth high. Stand within your feminine energy, which is your courage. It comes from your feminine side. Whenever there's a trouble going on and with some with women's kids, the women are the first ones to jump right in there. It could be a fire, it doesn't matter what. They will defend their children. And so the mother has come, the feminine energy is rising to bring truth and integrity back into this. And right below that is the masculine. So that's going to help direct the masculine in appropriate ways moving forward, but it's also going to affect the world. It's going to bring a wholeness. It's going to bring a unity together as well, because this is where we're marching toward. We're marching towards unity. We're marching towards better times. Our energies are going to be unified in celebration. So that's the good news. But that won't be for a while.
That's a success card for me. Your last one. Do you see that wreath that is on his
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
the wreath.
success card right there. Raise it up again. Raise it up a little bit. Yeah, that would be. Does he have people like cheering him on? No?
Yep, they're all standing. They're all standing with him,
Yeah,
celebrating,
yeah.
and they're all unified in the same momentum because Wands is energetic, so they're combining their energies, and that's basically what we're doing moving forward because people are seeing who's manipulating what. Well, most people are. Most people, I think, are getting it. Some people just won't admit it.
I honestly really, really think that the majority of people are definitely aware. It's just the one or two or maybe, the lower percentage that is so fucking loud and crazy that they seem to have so many more people because they're so loud and crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah, and okay, fine. I'm gonna say it then. Okay, so if you look at language, because they use language against us, if you look at what the word logical means to follow law, which is what law? It's the rules. It's natural law. So it's being aware of the consequences of your actions. So it's following the law is logical, which is natural law. It has nothing to do with figuring stuff out and stuff like that. Now, illogical is ill. You're going against natural law. So you're basically going against God is what you're basically doing when you're in illogical mindset. You know, it's just it is what it is. You know, we have to alchemize. We have to bring our heart online. Our heart, everything can be corrected, but we have to get out of ignorance and be willing to have the courage to not only speak our truths, if you want to call it that, but we have to align with the truth, which is our true self. So,
Bring up the Nine of Swords for me and show it in the
oh,
camera.
I put it on the deck, Marcia. I don't know if I have it handy dandy here. Oh, there's the 10. Yeah, there's the 9.
So that Nine of Swords Jerry picked as the first card in the past, right? That is exactly what the fuck we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
is the designed agendas, programs, whatever, and whatever you want to call it. Like it is there to rip us apart. Those swords on the horizontal level, that's what they've been doing. What card did they come up afterwards?
With that particular read, I also had the 10 is what's going on right now. The 9 was above it, so it was like this. This is the root of it, which is they're basically scaring the shit out of everybody with their language, but that it is slowly dying. It's not having the same effect on
Yeah, yeah,
everybody.
yes. And you can see that, right? That is why there's all these people speaking up
Yeah.
now. The quieter voice, the meek shall inherit the earth. The quieter voice, the more like logical voice is actually speaking up a little bit more, right? You can see it everywhere now, right? It's the people that used to keep quiet are kind of coming out, the other side is very loud and crazy, and I feel like they're still drowning everybody out. But I feel like also that's going to also change with that 10 of wands because 10 is completion,
And
right?
and you made an important distinction there earlier. I'd like to just maybe go a little further with that. Is that there is people that are also paid to
Yeah.
be the opposition as
No,
well.
paid
So
opposition. Yeah.
yeah, so there's paid actors to act out certain parts, and so there's also paid influencers that, and they're going to use AI, of course, to manipulate it even further. So, what you're hearing out there, 99% of it is just distortions. It's
It's all fluff.
not even real.
And that's why discerning and being curious and looking into what's going on in the situation that you're dealing with really clearly from all different angles, from both sides, is going to save your butt, right? And then trust what you get, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you look at the Wizard of Oz, it was all about the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. So it's like a lot of the rulers of this realm, they leave the truth out in plain sight in the movies. So you look at Free Guy, you look at all these different movies, but one in particular, Wizard of Oz, is that we have to get smarter. So the only way to get smarter is to upgrade your nervous system. So it's about allowing yourself to have these changes take place. And Spirit wants to upgrade everybody and bring everybody on board, have a big party. But Spirit's not going to go against our free will. So if we're going to hang on to old systems and we're going to go down with the old systems, not a judgment, it's just a matter of fact. Um, the Wizard of Oz was a scarecrow, so it's having the smarts, the brains to be able to figure some of these things out, to be even just curious, you know. And then, of course, the Tin Man didn't have a heart, so it's the heart and the brain alchemizing, and then it's the having the courage of the lion to be able to walk in your truth. And then, what's the end of the movie? You see through the illusions of the wizard behind the curtain. So we're starting to see the wizard behind the curtains right now. It's not scary, guys. You just have to, trust yourself and have a good laugh about it too. It's like the Bee Gees song just came in. Thanks, Spirit. The joke was on us. It was all a joke. But we have to move forward. We're in this physical body. We can't just take off to some spaceship or some foreign land and escape what's happening. We came here to experience this, to expand consciousness. So let's enjoy the show. Let's get together and make these things work, right, Marcia?
Yeah, I just lost what I was going to say.
I'm
Um,
sorry. You know
that's
what? I
okay.
ramble
No,
sometimes too.
no, don't ever apologize. It's
Do you want to
fine.
wrap this up with maybe a herbal card or something, an oracle?
Not yet, not yet, not
Okay.
yet. Okay, so what was my question? My question was Alberta separation. So this is in the past. This whole Alberta separating, this is the King of Cups. He is so stable. He is what we are talking about, making effective decisions because firstly, his emotions are not a roller coaster. He is very stable. He is very grounded. He is a great leader, right? He's also very empathetic. I mean, this guy sees like the Albertans like suffering and doesn't want it and sees a way forward and now is like executing the plan forward. This whole Alberta situation, this separation is coming from a very grounded, thought out
Hmm.
movement.
When I was looking at that and you were talking, that was beautiful, Marcia. I'm getting compassionate leadership
Yeah,
too. That's beautiful. I love that.
yeah. Because like you can literally see people is very different from BC. BC is like put in all these laws to take people's homes. That isn't a King of Cups leader, right? That is the exact opposite. The King of Cups leader sees the suffering of their people and wants to change it, figures out a way that is not emotional about it, figures out a
Mm.
way to do it and executes the plan,
That
right?
was beautiful. Yeah, and he was well grounded still. He was still well grounded.
Grounded,
Yeah.
grounded, stable, not woo, woo, angry, sad, depressed, all over the place,
Yeah.
right? This is in our present. Alberta is coming together right now. This is the lover's card, right? And again, like there are different voices there, it seems, but I really do feel intuitively that is paid opposition. It is not real. It is
Yeah.
not real. And the star card, this is over the lover's card. It's not a challenge. It is like an amplification of the unity of Alberta at the moment. And there is a change coming.
Oh, it's all good.
Sorry. There's a change coming in the near future, the death card, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
right now we're in the change.
Yep.
So it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable before the change comes in. Once the change comes in, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So she is once they figure it out, Alberta is one of the richest provinces in BC,
Yeah.
full of fucking amazing, hardworking people. These people are not indoctrinated with like the weird shit happening around the world. They take care of their family. The women, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's what we're going back into, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And in the future, in the advice, this is the Three of Wands, meaning that we've already stepped over the portal. It's just a matter of it playing out. So, what the cards are telling me right now with the Nine of Swords of Jerry's and all this stuff is that we are in a space right now where there's going to be a lot of noise, but focus on the fact of what you want because it did come from a really grounded place. Your movement forward is coming from a grounded place. It's going to change, which is going to bring a little bit of uncomfortability. And that's going to bring you into like so much abundance, right?
Yep.
And right
Some
now,
refinement.
you've already crossed the portal. You've already crossed the portal. You're moving forward. Don't let any distraction because they're going to amp up the distractions, right? They're going to amp up the paid opposition. So don't even listen, and all
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
trolls,
Take your TV and throw it out the door for a while.
don't even listen to the trolls. Like, don't even respond to them. They're just like beacon
Yeah.
on. It's like, they're like a little
Yeah.
bit of buzzing bee, right? So one more thing, and I know we are at 45 minutes, but I did want to wrap up with the BC because right now we had the election in which Carney got into power. And if you guys search up the map of the seats in BC, only the lower mainland was red. Everywhere else was blue. And maybe a little bit of like
Hmm.
the island, I think, was yellow. NDP, right? Red being liberal, red being Carney, and then blue being conservative. Most of BC is conservative, right? But it's like again with the loud people, a lot of our population lives in the lower mainland, which is then we also have a premier that's NDP. Right. Right now, why I'm bringing BC up in center is because there's a lot of noise percolating underneath the surface right now, underneath the mass, like crazy fucking people that are so loud with their bullhorns blowing and calling everybody fucking all the names in the book. People are still kind of banding together and wanting BC to separate. I never thought this would happen. I'm from the lower mainland. I have always been like on the outside, like 'cause seeing reality instead of all these like weird kind of like thinking. But now that I'm out at the lower mainland, I do see that there's a lot of people in BC that want out, right? They want to follow Alberta. So I'd like to pull the momentum of BC separation. And then I'd like to pull on whether or not the lower mainland will stay with Ottawa and the rest of BC will leave because that's what's coming in really hot lately is that that's what's going to happen, right? So, Jerry, do you have anything? I'm going to shuffle.
So okay. So this is just for BC. This read then.
Yeah, let's see the momentum of BC separation.
Well, if I could probably just go right to the bottom line for you if you want, but I'll read them all for us here. So it is already being considered. So it's being created in people's minds or energy. So this is not just the thoughts, of course, but this is your energy. So that people are already making moves. So I think some of them are already. I'm already thinking about going to Alberta. Marcia's already moved away from Lower Mainland, and kudos to you for having the fortitude to make those changes in your life, Marcia. That's fabulous. It's not easy doing that sometimes, right? It wasn't easy for you. I know your challenges on that. So, but anyways, let's continue on, shall we? So there's a lot of Christians in the Lower Mainland, especially here in Abbotsford. It's like the Christian Belt. So there's a lot of really good-hearted people, and they're starting to in BC here. Uh, a lot of lights being shone on what's going on. So we're seeing a lot of the dysfunctional. Like look, we had this big ostrich drama. You know, they're seeing through a lot of the stuff here right now. And a lot of it here in BC, it's just extremely greedy. Like there's so much going on in the Lower Mainland, especially in Vancouver. There's a lot of foreign investors. Like I think Marcia was talking about, she's talking to Trudeau about that. But yeah, so there's a lot of land being hogged. There's so much it's just not good. Not good at all. What's going on with BC and a lot of the cities, and you can see there's a lot of cities in behind there. So they got their foot on there. People don't want to lose their because people don't correlate value as to being spiritually awake. I had a young man actually ask me a couple of years ago. He says, Jerry, what's your definition of success? And had to think about it. Gave me about a minute, and then I said, easy, knowing that I'm a spirit first and foremost, that I have a connection to source. That would be my definition of success. His was materialistic gains, and that's what this is. A lot of people in BC equate their self-worth to their cars, their house, all that business. Anyways, so in the future here, yeah, there's going to be a fight, Marcia. There's going to be a scrappage going on in BC, is what I'm getting. It's going to be a lot of the young people are going to be standing up, and they're going to be coming together, and it's going to help a lot. But it's not going to be easy because this is going to be the outcome. There's going to be some scrappage going on for sure, and it looks like energetically too. So, but I did get that the young people are going to be coming together to help shed some light, hopefully more so on what's been going on, right? And as long as it's done in a loving, compassionate way, there's nothing wrong with that.
Is that the Knight of Cups?
Yeah, again, yeah,
The Knight of Cups? I
and
got that too.
yeah, yeah. So, it's a beautiful time for these changes to take place, and we're right at the doorstep of these beautiful changes, and so I'm just thankful and grateful to be here to help anchor them in and serve as any way that I possibly can. But that's kind of a given, I guess.
No, that is, let me just try to gather my thoughts here.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so this like there's going to be some ruckus going on. It does look like they're showing all of the different there's just so much to list. I'd be here for a week trying to like it's all about money, like the ferries, all the different things that they've wasted money on here in BC, the control systems, the taxations, even just to drive the highway there, they have a toll on the highway for like 10, 15 years. It's really expensive. I'd say out of all of Canada, BC is probably the most expensive to live in too. So
And Toronto. So that card to me, that foundational card, the Four of Pentacles, also speaks to me about the challenge that a lot of people have, not just in BC, but it's that like challenge of wanting to be in comfort, not wanting to change because change is hard. Like our move was hard, right? But it's like once you kind of be the King of Cups, don't be emotional about it, execute the plan. Then you get the Nine of Pentacles into beauty, into like a new way of life, into abundance, right? So I feel like that is definitely a challenge in BC. And yes, like a lot of the population in BC is changing. and it's very much a city. It's very like when I first started moving, when I first started living there, it was before 1986, and after 1986 Expo, it started changing, right? And then we had the Olympics, and then it started changing even more, bringing in all these people who really highly regarded a lot of material wealth, right? Yes, but the thing is, there is so much beauty and so much nature in BC. Mother Earth has BC, right? There's a reason why there's a lot of tree huggers in BC, but then it's like you got to use that thing. BC is a beautiful place, a beautiful, wonderful place with so much wilderness, so much Mother Earth. It's just I feel like the city is kind of like that energy. I don't think it's happening though. It's trying to seep into the rest of it, right? Seep into the populations beyond the city, but it's not occurring because of the nature, right? When I went down there, I could literally feel like a dome around the city from Hope onto like the lower mainland to the coast, right?
Just a
There's
blanket of of electronics, fog, smog,
It
Wi-Fi,
was
smart meters.
it was yeah, it was that. It was like the directed energy stuff, like the direct manipulation through energy and vibration, but it was also everybody's emotions. It was also everybody's kind of like hustle and bustle and grinding,
Yeah.
which relates to fear because they're
That
not taking care of
yeah,
themselves,
people
right?
people don't understand all that. Some people will that watch this, but she's right. It gets energetically imprinted in everything around you. If there's not enough nature to balance that, it actually causes psychological issues and stuff. That's why you see in big cities, you'll see a lot of disturbed people in the cities because they won't be out in nature. Like you don't see, all people that are on the streets that are in really bad shape. They stay on the streets. They don't go out to nature and be at the lake or anything like that. Go ahead, Marcia. Sorry.
There's also a reason with this hustle, bustling, grinding, and this like an unsustainable way of life and bills and everything in BC. This is where a lot of people are at right now. And I also feel like what's coming through with this is also the land claims. This is the people right now, they are grasping at straws, trying to keep their head above water. This is in the past, right? There is a silver lining to this, though, so don't worry. Um,
Did you
and
say
then
silver?
silver lining. Here's the silver lining. Here's the silver lining, right? This is in the
Yeah.
present. But the challenge is we are getting hit with so much cold fucking hard truth in BC. Like, where did all these land claims come? How is that possible? Anybody with a fucking brain knows that that's kind of weird, right? So that is one of the truth things. I hope David Ebby keeps speaking because he's making himself like look so retarded, right? So it's like the more he's showing his true colors, the more this is going to come through and the more we're going to get into this. This doesn't mean that we're in like the future of it. This means like this is the hope of the people of BC, right? They want to come across this because they know that this is what they are meant to be, meant to live,
Yeah.
how BC is supposed to be,
I
right?
love that she's holding the bird. I like that there too.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So this is in the near future. This is going to require a lot of us to take a fucking chill pill, honestly, and stop fighting with one another, right? The Knight of Cups. I know Jerry sees that as a lot of the feminine, right? And you could also say that it's a lot of the feminine. It's more trying to find the common ground within people, even if it's just like a love for them, even if they see everything different and they're one of those crazy loudmouth people, there is still something there that you can find that will hold it together. And maybe that way of compassion, I mean, if they're like being abusive to you, you give it to them right back, right? And that's what I do. But like, if you find that compassionate kind of unity connection with people that are just scared, that are just kind of like not able to see the
When
truth.
she says give it back, she just means just practice good boundaries. Don't
I
don't be a
don't.
don't be don't be a doormat. Yeah, but at the same time, don't go looking for scraps, right? You're just trying to, but that's a balance that, yeah, every person's going to have to, because you don't know how you're going to react until you're into the situation. But it's always best to, turn the other cheek and to walk away from people that are losing their shit. Because it's time for them to have a chance to reflect, and we've all done it. So it is it is what it is. But yeah, paid actors sometimes you don't know, right?
So Queen of Wands here. So no, I don't. If somebody is coming at me, yes, I will absolutely put up a boundary. What is that?
Can somebody cue these boots are made for walking? Hey, where'd you go? Okay, I'm.
I don't think being spiritual and being a good person means like I'm gonna let somebody like just like talk to me ridiculously, right?
No, of
So
course
that's
not.
what I meant,
I
right?
know
But
what you mean. Yeah, I just want
but
to
what
clarify because people sometimes get distorted, right?
But what I
Uh,
was saying was like the Knight of Cups, balance, take a chill pill, right? And try to be like that feminine energy. Try to find that compassion. Walk in like the footsteps of that person, even if they're crazy, and even if like you can try to see, okay, well, they're scared, right? Okay, well, they're kind of really indoctrinated. So that in itself will give you a way through it. You know what I mean? Does
yeah,
that make sense? My daughter's safe is bouncing and boinking. And then the next one I got is like the Queen of Pentacles. That's in the future of BC. So it's a really great card. And this like the Queen of Pentacles is saying the future of BC. I just got knocked off my intuition with all that crazy stuff that was just talked about. Hang on.
well, that's a beautiful card. That one should be not too difficult to get that one back. Whew. Queen of Pentacles.
But this isn't about the separatism, the separation movement in BC that's percolating under the ground, right? So the people who are thinking along that lines, keep your vision of an abundant BC, keep your vision of what you want to bring in, right? Because that vision, along with like executed plans, which is, I feel like BC is a little bit behind where Alberta is at.
Yep.
BC is just kind of starting to find its voice to say enough is enough, whereas Alberta has packed her bags and has talked to her lawyer, right?
Yeah, yeah. They've seen enough of the shit show. You know what?
Yeah.
We gotta take it right to the limit over here. Yeah.
And the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant for me right now is in its highest vibration. So we want these things. There's a movement within BC of people wanting more sovereignty from the government, wanting what Alberta is doing. So this Hierophant is the advice card, and it's saying, like, look at the goal, put in some plans, put in a structure so that this can be created, right?
Yeah.
So that's the
Ex-
advice to people in BC. We need to come together. We need to lead with like a heart-centered movement. Doesn't mean to be a pussy. That's what I was just talking about. You can be
Mhm.
spiritual and nice without being a pushover, but also to put in like a structured plan of what you want to get through, right?
Yeah, it's important to call it for what it is, right? I mean, we can, if we can come to some consensus, but if we sit here and we keep imagining that things are different when they're not, then we're never going to get anywhere. We have to realize that. I mean, we can go deep, deep down the spiritual rabbit hole or the conspiracy rabbit holes, but none of that serves us at this point. We just keep it at a base level. We know the economic system is kaput ski. We look at the astrology, and there's a reason why we were never taught astrology or numerology, because then we would have been able to figure things out. It's not a judgment, it's just would have messed this experience up. So, but this gig is like what Marcia was showing there is over. We need to come to a realization that it's over, and it's like a bad relationship. Sometimes we just hang on to those bad relationships even though we know it's over inside. I know I've done it, and so now it's time that we can say we're done, and just move on. We can let go. Hey, I want to wrap it up with the Oracle card. Is that okay?
Okay, but I want to pull one more thing. Where is the population in BC? Are we actually going to get like the population in BC, the majority of the population? Where is that now wanting to separate, just like Alberta is doing? And then you go ahead and pull your oracle.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna pull like I don't know how many cards
Sure.
this is.
Sure. Yeah. I already got the Oracle ready. I'm good.
Yeah.
I love these
Okay,
Oracle
we're in the
cards.
King of Wands right now. So there's a lot of fire energy going on right now. There's a lot of people like standing firm in what they believe. And there's a lot of like, this is just coming through as a message. There's a lot of conflict, but there's a lot of strong feelings in BC right now around this, like wanting to separate or just around the general like situation in BC. We're at the portal. No decision has been made. This is just like under the surface right now. So that is where we're at right now. But there is a lot of energy coming in. And I feel like the more things get revealed to us, the more we're going to step into that Three of Wands, right? But right now, it's just starting out. Like I said, Alberta has packed her bags and called the lawyer. BC is still
I love
talking to her girlfriends and trying to figure out a way forward in
Yeah.
in the leaving process, right?
What about if we do it like this? What's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and expecting different results, eh?
Yes. So message from Mother Earth during tomorrow, we're gonna come together and we're gonna pull on the message from the water. The water is speaking very clearly right now. There's a lot of different things going on with the water of Gaia. So we're gonna connect with the water tomorrow
I love
and
it.
see what messages come through. We're gonna look at the ice caps melting and see what codes are in there.
Okay.
That's from the exude. And I know Svetlana was talking about dragons. So I don't know if we're gonna pull on that tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So while Marcia's doing her cards, I got Sage, the number 6 card, which is so fitting because 6 is the numerology for the heart center. And I am actually just planting my sage or seeding it up right now indoors. And I'm doing garden sage, the green sage, and the white sage. So, the recommendation here, the guidance from Sage is like the moon card in the tarot, this is the great portal to the river of life. The silver light of Sage grants us the power of insight while we navigate the darkest hours. The lunar powers of Sage reminds us to look inward to receive visionary insight from spirit. Don't get overly consumed by the emotional interplay, and we saw that
That's what
lots in
we've
her
been
cards
saying.
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Allow it to pass like the clouds. Draw upon the inner reserves of your psyche to navigate darkness and become keenly aware of what is causing inner disturbances, fear, and unhappiness. The initiation you are undergoing, and that's an important distinction, these are all initiations, although unfamiliar, is a great blessing. Feel yourself cease and reassemble as you break illusions to unearth hidden truths. Surrender. Don't stand in your own way. Allow the silvery white light of Sage to shatter the illusions as you undergo a great awakening.
That
Wow.
is fucking perfect. That is
Right?
perfect for
Here comes
exactly
all
what
the.
we're talking about. That is exactly what we've been saying.
Yeah. Thank you, Spirit. And there comes all the goosebumps again.
That
Wow.
is awesome. And there is no coincidence, right? So for people watching, like there's a reason that that card was picked that says exactly what we were saying in this video. We are being guided.
Yeah.
That was what the star card is. We all have our guides within us. It's just a matter of tapping into it. How do we tap into it? That's why there's all this shit going on to make us not tap into it. And then we could talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
fluoride and EMF and ELF and all that shit, right? But we've got ways around that. This whole entire soul crew of mine, we have definitely gotten ways around that. So what I got pulled was the coin, which is the money, would talk to me about foundations, what we put as the foundations of our world, which talks to me about our own foundations, our own root chakra, our own foundation of where we find stability and security. And I feel like there needs to be a lot of healing for the people around that, looking into that. What is it that you find that is stabilizing your life? And look at it, right?
Mhm.
Discern it. Is that working for you or is that not working for you? Is it materialistic thing? If it's working for you, great. But if it's not, you are able to completely change it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all in the mind too. So it's getting out of our own way, just exactly what Spirit was saying. Surrender to the inner, and then therefore the outer will change. It's nothing can
Also,
really. Yeah, go ahead, Marcia.
what's coming in also with the coin is like ground, make it foundational, make it an energetic stability so that you can go into that like level playing field, that level emotional field, so you can think clearly. That is what's messing around with us, all these like crazy up and down that are being designed to put us in that state. We're smarter than that. We don't need to play into that, right? So, whatever way that you feel most fits you to not play into that kind of thing, I highly suggest to do it.
Power of awareness.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you like this impromptu thing. It came in really fucking hot today with all this like Alberta, BC, and all these like things. And again, like you are a sovereign being. We all are. I tell my child that, right? You are a sovereign being, even if it's an adult. If it doesn't fit into what you know inside, you question it, right? And you know that you make your own decisions, right? So. Yeah, that's a message for
Beautiful.
everybody. So I hope you
Love
like
that.
this video and we will catch you later. If you do want to join live for messages from the water, send us an email. You're more than welcome to come to our live Zoom session and we will catch you in the next video. Jerry, did you want to say anything?
I'm just looking at that horse, and I'm just thinking, man, just let's all create this sovereign free nation that we can, and we just have to empower ourselves, empower each other, and bring our minds and hearts together, and we can create anything.
Exactly.
That's a fact,
And I
Jack.
feel like the Hierophant said something about that too. It's like we can imagine all we fucking want to imagine, which is great. It's a power of manifestation. That's where it starts. But there's also another step, right? We need to imagine what we want, but then we need to do something to make it happen,
Yep.
right? Put in that structure to make it happen. Take that step forward to make it happen, right? No one's here to save us. We got this. We're gonna do it, right? So. Catch you in the next video.